Hello everyone, I'm Paul McElwire Grimes. Fans of The Sopranos have been begging series creator David Chase for more since the finale aired 14 years ago. He's written a story that should please fans as he opens this world up to a time decades before Tony Soprano would have his lasting impression. His film, The Many Saints of Newark, will be in theaters and streaming on HBO Max October 1st, and I want to talk about it. This is Paul's Trip to the Movies. It's 1967, and a young Tony Soprano always looked up to his uncle, Dickie Moltisanti, played by Alessandro Nivola. The name Moltisanti means many saints in Italian, and Dickie runs the neighborhood. Times are changing against the backdrop of the Vietnam War, and racial tensions start to build in Newark, leading to riots and looting in the city. One of Dickie's former hitmen, Harold McBrayer, played by Leslie Odom Jr., has big plans of his own going up against the local Italians. The walls start crumbling around Dickie, and a precocious teenage Tony Soprano, now played by Michael Gandolfini, continues to be shaped by the uncle that he once idolized. The film also stars Ray Liotta as Dickie's father, and Vera Farmiga, Corey Stoll, John Magaro, and Billy Magnuson playing younger versions of your favorite Sopranos characters. The Many Saints of Newark is written by David Chase and is directed by Alan Taylor, who worked on many episodes of The Sopranos. Now, prequels are massively tricky to pull off, and too often I think that they involve backstories to villain characters. But I think that David Chase manages to really find that sweet spot of honoring characters that we cherish while making the story about something different. Don't expect this to solely be the Tony Soprano origin story, as it's far more about Dickie Moltisanti and how his rise and fall would then shape the world that we know from The Sopranos. Tony is a secondary byproduct, if you will, one that's still integral and shows how our life choices have a ripple effect on our loved ones and the generations to follow. The film has David Chase's creative stamp all over it, and you'll hear intricately placed musical selections and really specific storytelling devices honoring the great mob movies that came before. The opening narration is a clear reference to Goodfellas, which also stars Ray Liotta. And one could say that this film, which is about, the rise and fall of two mafia heads, really mimics that of The Godfather Part 2. David Chase and Alan Taylor have a really terrific ensemble on their hands. Ray Liotta gives a really strong performance as he explodes with rage and hot temper. And clearly this is a family trait that then is passed down to Dickie. Chase and Liotta have a few tricks up their sleeves throughout this film with this character. And as Dickie, Alessandro Nivola has that added pressure to carry this film with a character that's only been mentioned by name and reputation before this. He's a real natural fit to this world, as he's charming and charismatic, but then can turn on that cold-hearted, ruthless killer within him. The toxic and fragile male ego is on full display with Dickie. Leslie Odom Jr. is sure to wow fans in a role that's unlike anything you've ever seen from him before. Vera Farmiga is stunning, slipping into the role of Livia Soprano, and she nails that hysteria originally captured by Nancy Marchand, and it's quite apparent from this film why Tony and Livia would have that complicated mother-son relationship. And you can't talk about this film without bringing up Michael Gandolfini, stepping into the role once played impeccably by his late father, James Gandolfini. Michael proves his worth, giving young Tony an arc with humor and an immaturity along the way as he's looking for attention that he so badly needs. The Many Saints of Newark is really rich in production and costume design, all looking natural and authentic and really lived in from the era. The film excels at being this violent, knockout gangster film, but with a really twisted sense of humor. I really do think that it works on its own, but is also complemented by connecting to the Sopranos world that is then to come decades later. I'm giving The Many Saints of Newark 4.5 out of 5 ticket stubs. If you like my review today, click subscribe on my YouTube channel. I got to interview this cast. You'll definitely want to check out those interviews. I had a blast talking to them. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Paul's Movie Trip. And then go to my website, paulstriptomovies.com, for even more reviews. Thank you so much for watching my review of The Many Saints of Newark. This is Paul's Trip to the Movies.